Welcome Primary 5, with you is Miss Noura Abdurrahman, and today we are going to start lesson number 3 on concept number 1 on unit 1. So are you ready to start? Let's go! The last time we talked about the photosynthesis process. Do you remember what's the photosynthesis process? It is the process by which the plant make its own food. Okay, the plant need what in photosynthesis process? Water, sunlight, carbon dioxide, and nutrients. So, in the photosynthesis process, the plant use which energy? The light energy. The light energy is coming from what? From the sun. Super. So in the photosynthesis process, the plant use the energy of the sunlight to make its own food. Okay, in the photosynthesis process, the plant need what? Absorbed by the leaves, the sunlight, and carbon dioxide. Okay, and need what from the soil? Water and nutrients. So in the photosynthesis process, the plant need water and the nutrients from the soil and sunlight and carbon dioxide absorbed by the leaves. Okay, do the plant need the sunlight as a basic need to grow? Yes. So can I grow a plant in a dark place? Of course no, it will die. So the plant need the sunlight as a basic need to make the photosynthesis and grow. Okay, do you remember what's the function of the parts of the plant? At first we have the roots. The roots absorb water and the nutrients from the soil. After that, the stem make what? Carry the water and the nutrients from the roots to the leaves. Okay, there is a tube inside the stem carries the water and the nutrients to the leaves? Yes, there is a tube or a vessel. A tube or a vessel inside the stem carry the water and the nutrients from the roots to the leaves. What is the name of this tube and what is the name of this vessels? It's called xylem. It's called what? Xylem. Repeat after me. Xylem. Xylem. What is the xylem? It is a tube or a vessels inside the stem carry the water and the nutrients from the roots to the leaves. So the xylem can be found in the stem. And when we go to the leaves, the xylem divided into a smaller vessels of xylem to carry the water and the nutrients to each part of the leaves. So we have a tube or a vessels on the stem called xylem. And the xylem carry what? Carry water and the nutrients from the roots to the leaves. After that, the leaves take this water and they take this nutrients and absorb the sunlight and the carbon dioxide to make what? Photosynthesis process. So in the leaves, the plant, in the leaves of the plant, the sunlight and the carbon dioxide is absorbed. Okay, how can the leaves absorb the sunlight and absorb the carbon dioxide? We can breathe the oxygen by our nose because there is an opening in our nose, right? And this opening, it can breathe the oxygen or take the oxygen. Okay, do the leaves of the plant has also an opening to absorb the carbon dioxide? Yes, it has. It has a small or a tiny pores or tiny opening on the surface of the leaves which absorbing carbon dioxide and getting out the oxygen. What's the name of this tiny pores? It's called stomata. It's called what again? Stomata. Repeat after me. Stomata. Stomata. So the stomata is a pores or opening in the leaves which absorb carbon dioxide and release out the oxygen. So the stomata are pores on the surface of the plant leaves which allow the gases to move in and out the plant. What is the pores in the leaves of the plant? Stomata. Again, what is the name of the pores on the leaves of the plant? It's called what? Stomata. The stomata allow the gases to move in and out the plant. This is the stomata. absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. Okay, let's complete these questions. Number 1. Who is getting their food from plants and animals? It is the humans. Super. Number 2. It is absorbing the water from the soil and carry it into the other parts of the plant, which is the roots. Super. Number 3. Use the sunlight to make their food. Who is using sunlight to make food? It is the plant. Excellent. Number 4. The water and the nutrients move up the plant's stem through a vessels. What is the name of this vessels? A vessels inside the stem. It's called xylem. It's called what? Xylem. Super. Number 5. The plant leaves have a tiny pores. What's the name of this pores? It's called stomata. It's called what? Stomata. Excellent. Now guys, let's start together. Lesson number 5. Are you ready? Let's start. Okay, do you remember the function of each part of the plant again? Let's start with roots. The roots absorb water and nutrients from the soil. Number 2. The roots also can fix the plant in the soil. Guys, if the plant doesn't have a root, can it is fixed in the soil? Can it become strong and stand on the soil, or it will fly? It will fly. So the root's function is to fix the plant in the soil. So now the root has a one function or two functions? It has two functions. Fix the plant in the soil and absorb water and nutrients from the soil. Any problem? Okay, let's start. Okay, what about the plant roots? The plant roots have a hair. Have a hair like us? Yes, it has something like our hair. It's called root hair. It's called what? Root hair. What is the function of the root hair? At first, this is the main root. Can you see this part? This is the main root. The main root is also absorbing water and nutrients from the soil. But the root here will absorb more water and more nutrients. So when the plant has more root hair, it can absorb more water and more nutrients. So when the root hairs increase, the plant can absorb more water and more nutrients because each one of these hairs absorb some water and some nutrients. So if the plant has a lot of root hairs, it will absorb more water and more nutrients. So what's the function of root hair? It is to increase the amount of absorbed water and the nutrients. Again, what's the function of the root hair? Increase the amount of absorbed water and nutrients. And we have here another picture. We can see the root hair absorbing the water and the nutrients. Can you see the root hair? Here also we can see the root hair absorbing the water and the nutrients. So the last time, the root hair function is to increase the amount of absorbed water and the nutrients from the soil. Now let's go to the function of the stem. Do you remember what's the function of the stem? It's transporting or carrying the water and the nutrients from the roots to the leaves. By which tube do you remember? By the xylem. Okay. Number 2. The stem also has another function. It is supporting the leaves and the flowers of the plant. Without the stem, can the leaves and the flowers be strong and stand up? No, it will be weak. So, the stem supporting the leaves and the flowers of the plant. So, the stem also has a two function. Carry water and the nutrients from the roots to the leaves by using xylem and supporting the leaves and the flowers of the plant. And now let's talk about the types or the forms of the stem. We have 5 types of the stem. Number 1, wood stem. Wood stem. Number 2, upright stem. Upright stem. Number 3, climb stem. Climb stem. Number 4, tuberous stem. Tuberous stem. Number 5, runner's stem. Runner's stem. So let's start with the first one, which is the wood stem. We can find the wood stem in which plants? Do you know? The wood stem, we can see it on the trees. Excellent. We can see the wood stem of the trees and also of the shrubs. What's the meaning of shrubs? The shrubs is the small trees. So we can find the wood stem on trees, trunk, and on shrubs. Excellent. Number 2, the upright stem. Upright stem. The upright stem means that this stem is standing up. Okay, like which plant? We can see the upright stem in the flowers. So in most flowers we can see the upright stem. So now we talked about wood stem on the tree and on shrubs. And number 2, we talk about the upright stem on flowers. Number 3, we have the climb stem. The climb stem. Do you remember the climb stem? When we talk that there is a plant grow on another plant? Yes, this plant has a weak stem. That's why they are climbing on other plants. Like which plants? Like the grapes. They are called vines or grapes. So the vines or grapes has which stem? They have climb stem. Again, we can find the climb stem in which plant? Grapes or vines. Number 4, tuberous stem. Tuberous stem. The tuber stem, they extend under the soil or under the ground. Like which plant? Like the potato. The potato, it is not a fruit. The potato, it is a stem. It is the stem of the plant. So the potato is a stem. Yes, the potato is a stem and it is called tuberous stem because it is under the soil. So now we talked about climb stem in grapes or vines and the tuberous stem like in which plant? Potato plant. Okay, and the last one, the runner's stem. Runner's stem. The runner's stem, is it under the ground? No, it is above the ground or it is above the soil. Okay, above the soil like the upright stem? No, the upright stem is standing up, but the runner's stem is moving or running on the soil, like from right to the left or from the left to the right side, like that. Can you see these plants? It is above the soil, but they are not standing on the soil. They are moving from the right side to the left side. They are called runner's stem. Runner's stem. So now we talked about 4 types of the stem. Wood stem on trees and shrubs. Upright stem on flowers. Climb stem on grapes or vines. Tuberous stem on potato. And the last one, which is runner's stem. The runner's stem, it is above the soil or above the ground. Now let's go back to the leaves. The leaves function is what? It is making the food of the plant by absorbing the carbon dioxide and sunlight. Okay, how can the leaves absorb the sunlight? Inside the leaves, there is something called chlorophyll. Called what? Chlorophyll. Repeat after me. Chlorophyll. Chlorophyll. What is the chlorophyll? It is a green substance inside the leaves, and it is giving the plant its green color. So the chlorophyll, it's a green substance which giving the plant its green color. So without the chlorophyll, the plant will have a green color? No. So what is giving the plant the green color? Chlorophyll, and the chlorophyll can be found inside the leaves. Okay, number 2, the chlorophyll also is responsible for absorbing the energy of the sunlight. So the chlorophyll inside the leaves absorb the sunlight energy. So who is in the leaves absorbing the light energy? The chlorophyll. So this chlorophyll, can you see it? It is inside the leaves, absorbing the sunlight and give the plant its green color. And the xylem carry water from the roots to the stem, and then to the leaves, and on the leaves, as we said before, there is a smaller tubes or smaller vessels of xylem which carry the water and the nutrients to each part of the leaves. Okay, what is the types of leaves? We have two types of leaves: narrow leaves and flat leaves. Narrow leaves and flat leaves. Number 1, the narrow leaves, they look like needles. They look like needles. Do you remember the needle leaves on primary 4? We talked in which plant? On the pine tree. Pine tree, if you remember, the pine tree, which is the Christmas tree. The pine tree has which type of leaves? Needle leaves or narrow leaves. Needle leaves or narrow leaves. Okay, number 2, we have the flat or the wide leaves. Flat or wide leaves. The flat leaves can be found in which plant? If you also remember from primary 4, we talked about water lily. The water lily has a flat or wide leaves. So we have narrow needle leaves and flat white leaves. This is the two types of leaves. So now we finished the roots, the function of the stem, and also the function of leaves. So now inside the leaves, the plant will make the photosynthesis process and to produce a two substance. Number 1, it will produce the food of the plant, which is the glucose sugar, and the glucose sugar is a starch or a protein which the plant need to grow. Number 2, it will produce which gas? It will produce oxygen gas, and the oxygen gas that the animal and the humans need to breathe. So in the photosynthesis process, the plant produce glucose sugar and oxygen gas. Glucose sugar and oxygen gas. Okay, now the plant finished from photosynthesis process and produced the glucose in the leaves. Okay, guys, do all the parts of the plant need the glucose or only the leaves? No, all the parts of the plant need glucose. So how can the glucose will go from the leaves to each part of the plant? There is another tube in the stem. Oh my god, there is another tube in the stem. And it is not the xylem? No, it's not the xylem. There is another tube in the stem called phloem. Called what? Phloem. And the phloem is a tube inside the stem which is taking or transporting the food from the leaves and give it to other parts of the plant to the roots. So the phloem is another tube inside the leaves, take the glucose from the leaves to the roots. So again, there is another tube in the stem. It's called what? Phloem. It's called what? Phloem. Repeat after me. Phloem. Phloem. The phloem making what? Taking the sugar from the leaves to the roots. Taking the sugar from the leaves to the roots. So the phloem is moving up or moving down? Moving down. Excellent. It is in the opposite direction of xylem. So the xylem is moving up. The xylem is moving up. The xylem carrying the water and the nutrients from the roots to the leaves. But the phloem is moving down. The phloem is moving down. And it's carrying what? Carrying the food of the plant from the leaves to the other part of the plant, including the roots. So inside the stem we have two tubes. We have how many tubes inside the stem? Two tubes. One is going up and one is going down. Who is going up? The xylem. The xylem carrying what? Water and nutrients from the soil or from the roots to the leaves. And the phloem is carrying what? Is carrying the sugar from the leaves to the roots. So they are moving in opposite directions. Can you see this? We can see it on the mole. Okay, which one is moving down? Number one is moving up. Number one is moving up. What is this tube? Will be the xylem. Excellent. And number two is moving down. Will be the phloem. With you was Miss Noura Abdurrahman, and thank you for listening.